Hello, my name is Kai, and welcome back to Extra Time, the series where I read your comments, answer your questions, and make clarifications wherever I need to. But before I get into it, it'd be great if you guys could like the video, subscribe to the channel, comment down below, and follow me on Twitter. But now let's get into your comments. I currently have a poll in my community tab about when I should post videos on this channel. I think ideally I want to make it around 6 p.m. BST, but I'm open to other options because currently morning is winning, not by a whole lot. I also have another post, which is, are there any other academy players like in the under 18s that you're excited for? Because I mostly just talked about the under 21s and I kind of just want to focus on them. But if there's any particular under 18s that you guys are excited for, just let me know in the comments underneath that post. Now for the first bit of your comments, I got a lot of different opinions on Rodrygo. There are people talking about Rodrygo being overrated and how we should prioritize a DM or a center back over him. There are people talking about we could play Hugo at left wing and striker. We don't need Rodrygo. You can have Isak instead. People were asking if Rodrigo is good enough for Liverpool, that Real fans talk about him ghosting. There are people saying that maybe Rodrigo's a poor fit with someone like Ekitike and you should go for a Leao or a Barcola or an Openda. There were people talking about the fact that he's better as a second striker. There were a lot of different opinions on Rodrigo, and I think the best way to settle this is to actually look at the pitch and decide maybe Rodrigo isn't the best fit. So this is what our current team looks like, and let's get rid of Luis Diaz and bring in Rodrigo. Now, how exactly would this team operate with Rodrigo? Well, when we're in possession in the final third, ideally what's going to happen is Wirtz is going to come here, Rodrigo is going to hold with, Salah here, Frimpong here. We get back to the 3-2-5. So you might be asking, Rodrigo's not good out here, and I agree, but Rodrigo's a player with zero angle bias. What does that mean? You can basically put him anywhere and he will still operate the same. It's actually pretty similar with Ekitike and Wirtz as well, so I could actually see scenarios where all three of these guys rotate. Ekitike could run into the channel and allow someone like Rodrigo to come inside with Wirtz supporting, or Rodrigo here with Wirtz central. I think the ability for these three to interchange fixes the problem of thinking that Rodrigo is just going to stay wide. He isn't. If anything, what could happen is a progression scenario of Kirkes getting to Rodrigo, who tries to run, passes inside to Wirtz, goes in behind, comes here, tries to cut across, finds someone like Ekitike, runs through, shot. Rodrigo can find himself inside, and I think that his fluidity and his lack of angle bias will be very useful there. Now, people talk about Rodrigo's physicality. Well, Rodrigo is able to win headers despite his height. He had a clutch header against City all those years ago. He is deceptively fast. He's way faster than you'd think he is. And he's a great dribbler. I think in the Premier League he'd be great against most fullbacks. Maybe he would struggle against some center backs, but that's ideally why you have Ekitike dropping off or running the channels to pull away one of them, and Mo is likely going to get marked by another. So realistically, that's not really the type of player that he's going to deal with a lot of. Now, are there better players for the profile? I think there's just one that's gettable. Of course, Kvaratskhelia would also be an incredible profile for the position, but he'd be impossible to get. Rodrigo, great for the position, but Barcola would be better. He's faster than Rodrigo, he's more physical than Rodrigo, but he's probably not attainable anymore. I think PSG want to keep him. Now, people talked about Anthony Gordon. Gordon's a roadrunner. He's faster and more physical. He's potentially a better presser. Is he a better footballer? No. Can he link up play better? No. Is he useful in low blocks? No. Is his only gimmick the ability to run around, cut inside, and shoot on his right foot? Yes. Does that make sense for Liverpool? No. Gordon makes very little sense for this team. If you wanted an out-and-out runner, yeah, you could talk about someone like Openda. The issue I have with Openda is he's a pretty inconsistent finisher, and he doesn't really give me hope that he's going to improve. Is he a good footballer? Yeah. I would take Openda over Gordon, but Rodrigo makes more sense. He's much more of a creator, and he's a much better finisher. Is he not tall? Is he a little bit weaker? Sure. Is he not physical? No, that's a bit of an exaggeration. And if you really want a roadrunner, I'd suggest going all in for Sade. There's no way Brentford sell him. They're already selling everyone. But if they were open to, and you wanted a roadrunner, I'd get Sade. It doesn't really make sense since we have Gakpo. You can't really have two left wingers there and Rio and then get another. But in a world where Gakpo was gone, you could maybe go for Sade. But at this point, I think we're going to look to not block Rio's development. And yeah, I think that's pretty pretty much everything people said about Rodrigo. I guess there's some concerns about he's better as a second striker. I agree, he's better centrally. I think we're going to try to get him central because Ekitike is going to drop in, right? And he's going to vacate space for the likes of Salah, Verts. I think that's essentially what we're going to go for. So that's how we're going to fix that problem. It'll be kind of like how we played under Klopp with Firmino vacating, but the midfield's much better technically, and we're not going to be counter-pressing as much to create. We're going to have actual playmakers. We're actually going to have real control in possession. So it's a bit different. So I had a lot of people commenting about the white voice bar that I normally have. Would people prefer it if in those videos where I'm going through panels that I just have the current voice bar you see now, like the red one on the bottom? Do you want me to get rid of it entirely? Are most of you okay with the jumping bar? There's a lot of different variations that I can do with these scenes and stuff. I have a plugin for this visualizer, so if you'd like this changed, color scheme, whatever, just let me know in the comments if it's also a problem for you. Thoughts on Calvin Ramsey? Calvin Ramsey was supposed to be the next big thing. A lot of people in Scotland back when he was at Aberdeen were raving about him. I think that's why we signed him. A lot of people were saying he was the most technical Scottish footballer of this generation, and he was the best fullback that they were currently producing. And this was at a time where Robertson was great, and people were saying that he had a higher ceiling than Andrew. And the truth is, he did, but the back injuries just killed him. And I think now his development has stalled so much that I don't think he'll ever reach that level with Liverpool. If he does end up hitting a good vein of form, I think in 5 or 6 years we'll be talking about him resurging, kind of like a Ola Aina style of, 28, 29-year-old fullback suddenly being good for a few seasons, but I don't think he's ever going to make it with us now. So I had a lot of people talking about the center back situation. People were saying that they were concerned more with center back than midfield because we had lost Kwanzaa. We currently only have 3 midfielders. The Ibu situation. I'm closer to thinking Ibu might stay now. I think maybe he actually does just want more money and Hughes is playing hardball. Because even when I look at him in the squad, he looks happier than Trent did. But again, I don't know. I think people talk about Mickey Van de Ven, unrealistic. If a Spurs center back leaves, it'll be Kuti Romero. And I would go for him as a Konate replacement, but I think he might be too expensive. I think we'll end up getting Gehi. And I think we'll end up getting a young, flexible center back like Leone. And I think that'll be fine. That'll be a group of 5. You have Gomez and Gehi. Gehi third choice, Gomez fourth, Leone fifth. You move on Gomez at the end of the season. You pick up another center back. It should be fine. If you sell Ibu, you should go for Zabarni, but PSG are moving for Zabarni again, so if you can't get Zabarni, you go for Alessandro Ribeiro. You try to unsettle Kuti Romero. That's kind of what you go for. If Konate does stay, I would still be looking for Konate successors. I talked about that in my sensible transfers video. And yeah, that's my opinion on the center back situation. I think we do need a ball player. I don't think Slot doesn't rate Konate. I think he does want ball players, but I think he rates the dueling as well. And I don't think our center backs will be expected to play make that much. I think they'll have to do some level of playmaking between the lines and in behind, but Ibu is capable of doing that level of playmaking, and he can defer to Verge at times as well. Talking about not signing a DM is risky, I agree. This is more pertinent than not signing a center back, and I just don't think we are now. There haven't been any reliable links to any DMs this season, no speculation, except for some little things on Wharton from unreliable journalists. I'd love to sign Wharton, I'd love to sign Baliba. I just don't think it's going to happen. I'd even love a versatile 6'8", like a Ravella or a Lamine Camara, but it's not happening. Some of the players I like Richard Rios, Enzo Bernche are both at Benfica. Yeah, it's just probably not going to happen. And I was seeing some people talking about what if we just go with a Mac Sabo pivot. Relegating McAllister to the DM position is fine, but it's a terrible use of him. I'm tired of us playing players out of position because we have to, and limiting people like Dom even more by putting him deeper. I think we just have to stop with this. We have to just get players that fit in the right positions. We don't need more square pegs for round holes. We just need to really get players who fit. Someone mentioned Agome from Sevilla. I don't really know how to pronounce his name. I think he was at Inter Milan before, and he kind of flopped there. I like him. He's a bit slow. He doesn't cover a lot of space. He's very physical. He'd be a good backup if we wanted to move on Endo, but he's never first choice for a team like Liverpool, but good player. And there's a bunch of good CDMs on the market. It's just whether or not people will move for them. There are no reliable links to Baliba, no reliable links to Wharton, and Madrid have 2 great DMs in Tchouaméni and Camavinga. Camavinga's not even getting played. Why can't anyone unsettle him? No idea. And I think we'll probably keep some young players like Lucas Stevenson and McConnell, something like that around if we don't sign a DM. But Morton's off. He's gone. I'm going to hold my hands up for this one. I think I was a bit too dismissive of Trey's passing game. See, prior to this season and us in games, I only really watched Trey through clips prior to this season because I watched him through the under-21s games this season and I watched him play for us this season and last season. But yeah, I always heard the Jamal Musiala comparisons. I used to see clips of him dribbling past people and shooting inside the box, and I thought that was his game. What I've been made aware of is that he's actually always been a pretty decent short passer and controller. I kind of thought he was evolving into it, and I think to some extent he is improving that, because at under 21 level I saw it, but from what I saw at preseason and especially in the Stoke game, it looked way more elevated. But I was definitely downplaying his passing because I saw it in the under 21s this season and thought it was good, but I always thought that his dribbling was his attribute that was the best back at Leicester because of the clips that I saw, because I never really watched him at Leicester. I prefer this Clyde to the twat in the Mehdi Hassan video. Yeah, man. What a video, man. Mehdi's the GOAT. Just want to put this in there because I thought it was funny. So, some more stuff on the academy. Why didn't I touch on under 21's GOAT, Jay Spearing? That's so real. I should have touched on Jay Spearing. I should actually make a whole video on Jay Spearing. He's just such a great footballer. I mean, when you think of Jay Spearing, he could be the answer to the midfield, to the center back crisis. I mean, he can play everywhere. I mean, big up Jay Spearing, man. What a baller. He can dunk as well. And for the other stuff in this, yeah, we don't need to put a lot of pressure on these academy kids. I think Engamo and Nyoni are both excellent. I love Figueroa, but I'm also an American, so I'm a bit biased. I think our biggest prospects are definitely Trey Nyoni and Rio. I think we'll make it at Liverpool. They're very good. I think afterwards, Lewis Kumas has a chance, Danz has a chance, McConnell has a chance, Luca has a chance. Luca would be of circumstance, similar with Kumas, because they're so versatile that you could keep them around. And I honestly think it is really beneficial if we can get an academy player, versatile ones, into the squad for 3 or 4 seasons, playing solid amounts of minutes and selling them around 25, 26 to another club. If we can consistently do that, it'll give us a good supply of squad players that we can move on when they would want to move on. It's similar to how we kept Kelleher for so long. I know he's a goalkeeper, but this is the idea, because if we can keep them and develop them into like solid Prem players, you get good fees for them, they give you good minutes. A lot of these players kind of love the club, could influence people at other clubs to come and join. It's kind of a good strategy, and it's something that Man U used to do very well under Sir Alex, and I think it's something that we should look to emulate. Would love to see a video on multi-club ownership, how you see it could benefit us, what clubs. Yeah, I will definitely do this. I will look at the clubs that we've been linked to, like Getafe before. We were linked to Bordeaux, Toulouse, Saint-Etienne. We were linked to a bunch of clubs. I'll definitely look at making a video on multi-club ownership in general and focusing it a bit on Liverpool and who we should go for and how it would help. I think realistically, if we were to be a part of an MCO, we wouldn't harm the club that we're in an MCO with. We would help build them up into a European superpower like us. And I really like the idea of us going for Getafe because I feel like both of the other Madrid teams don't utilize their academies well enough, and Madrid's a breeding ground for really good footballers. So if you could get a solid Madrid-based team that focuses on their academy in Getafe, we could do a lot of good for the city and for us and for the team, and that team being Getafe. So imagine they'd actually get to play good football instead of doing terrorism. Be incredible. And finally, I just want to mention the name Morgan Rogers. I haven't done it in a while, and I still love the kid, and we should still sign him. But yeah, that is it for this video. If you liked the video, comment down below, subscribe to the channel, and follow me on Twitter. And as always, thanks for watching.